Dear editor, and this is the Zodiac speaking. 5 words that paralyzed America, 5 words that turned a peaceful community into a place of terror, 5 words that began one of history's most chilling manhunts. Welcome to Mysteries Uncovered. Every serial killer leaves a signature. Some prefer knives, others choose specific victims. But only one killer turned murder into a public game, a game that remains unfinished to this day. Before we begin this story, lock your doors, turn down your lights, because the case I'm about to share isn't just about murder. It's about a killer who might have lived next door to you, might still be living next door to someone today. December 20th, 1968, Lake Herman Road, Vallejo, California. The kind of winter night where stars shine bright and teenagers feel invincible. David Faraday, 17, was finally taking Betty Lou Jensen, 16, on their first official date. Betty Lou spent hours choosing her outfit, twirling in front of her mirror, asking her mother if she looked grown up enough. David promised her parents he'd have her home by 11. Neither of them would ever come home again. By 11:15 p.m., their bodies would be found on that lonely road. No robbery, no assault, just murder. Precise, calculated, and what we would later learn, just the beginning of a reign of terror. 6 months passed. The community was still grieving, still looking over their shoulders at night. Then it happened again. July 4th, 1969. Darlene Farron and Michael Majot parked at Blue Rock Springs Park, just 4 miles from the first killing. Same method, same precision. But this time, something was different. This time, the killer wanted to talk. At 12:40 a.m., a call reached the Vallejo Police Department. A man's voice, calm and collected, spoke words that would send chills through the station. I want to report a murder. No, a double murder. I killed those kids last year too. August 1st, 1969. 3 newspapers received identical letters: the Vallejo Times-Herald, the San Francisco Chronicle, and the San Francisco Examiner. Inside each envelope was part of a cipher and a threat. The killer wasn't just taking lives anymore. He was starting a game where he made the rules, chose the players, and held all the cards. He demanded his coded message be printed on each paper's front page, or he would go on a killing rampage. What made these letters different wasn't just the threats or the codes, it was the signature. For the first time, he used a name that would become legendary: the Zodiac. September 27th, 1969. Lake Berryessa. Brian Hartnell and Cecilia Shepard were enjoying a peaceful afternoon by the water. They had no idea they were being watched. At 6:14 p.m., a man approached them, but this wasn't just another Zodiac attack. This time, he wore a costume that would become infamous, a black executioner's hood with a white cross stitched on the front. What happened next showed just how different the Zodiac was. He spoke to them calmly, almost politely, explained what he was going to do, tied them up with clothesline, that psychological torture, those moments of knowing what was coming. This was his true signature. October 11th, 1969, San Francisco. Paul Stein, a taxi driver working a late shift, picked up a passenger at Union Square. His last passenger. This killing was different. No young couples, no remote locations. Right in the heart of the city. The Zodiac shot Stein, then did something that showed his growing confidence. He took a piece of Stein's shirt, a trophy he would later mail to the newspapers, proving this kill was his. 3 teenagers watched from their window as the killer wiped down the cab. They gave police the only real description we'd ever have of the Zodiac's face. The Zodiac's letters weren't just threats. They were puzzles, complex ciphers that would baffle the FBI's best cryptographers. His first cipher was cracked by a high school teacher and his wife. The message was chilling. I like killing people because it is so much fun. It is more fun than killing wild game in the forest because man is the most dangerous animal of all. But his most famous cipher, the 340-character message, would remain unsolved for 51 years, until December 2020, when 3 amateur codebreakers finally revealed its secrets. Behind every headline, beyond every cipher, were families whose worlds stopped turning. Betty Lou Jensen's mother kept her daughter's room exactly as it was that December night. the green dress still hanging on the closet door. Christmas presents, wrapped but never opened. Darlene Farron's sister jumped at every phone call, hoping for answers. Paul Stein's children grew up without a father. Brian Hartnell survived his attack, but lived with questions that would never be answered. The Zodiac didn't just kill people, he killed peace of mind. He killed the belief that evil is always recognizable. He killed the idea that our neighborhoods are safe. For years, investigators chased leads. They interviewed thousands, collected DNA, compared handwriting samples. The case brought together an unlikely team: police officers, newspaper reporters, amateur detectives, and cryptographers. The Zodiac claimed 37 victims in his letters. Only 7 were confirmed. What about the others? Were they real or part of his performance? Each answer led to more questions. Suspects came and went: Arthur Lee Allen, Richard Gaikowski, Ross Sullivan. Each seemed perfect until they weren't. DNA tests, handwriting analysis, alibis. The Zodiac stayed one step ahead. Today, someone, somewhere, knows the truth. Maybe it's in a box in an attic, a diary in a drawer, a deathbed confession waiting to be made. The Zodiac didn't just kill people. He created a mystery that still haunts us. He showed us that monsters don't always hide in shadows. Sometimes they walk among us, shop at our stores, live in our neighborhoods. This case remains open. The killer's identity unknown. Some ciphers still unsolved. But with advancing technology, each day brings us closer to answers. Could you be living next door to the Zodiac's child? Grandchild? Could the key to solving this case be hiding in plain sight? This is Mysteries Uncovered, where some questions haunt us until they're finally answered. If you want more unsolved mysteries, hit subscribe and join us, because the next story might be the one that reveals the truth.